Hey guys, been a while since we made a video. We got harvest done yesterday. We're gonna have some of that coming up. It might be before this video actually, but we'll see. So one of the things we do is, we have cattle, and whenever we butcher cows, we try to use all the meat that we can use. Some of that meat is soup bones. Try to use every part of the cow possible. So what we're going to do today, I know this doesn't really fit the channel and what we've been doing and all that, but it's kind of interesting, is we're going to make our own beef broth out of the soup bones. Now we take and we have our cows, some of them, when we butcher them, we have them put into, packages that are all weighed out, USDA approved, and we sell the meat as individual cuts out of our freezer to our friends and family that don't want to buy full beefs. Well, the one thing nobody buys soup bones because there ain't really nothing to do with them besides to make broth. So today we're going to make broth. We got, I don't know how many pounds of soup bone, but it's a bunch. We got to let it thaw out for a little while, and then we're going to move to the next step shortly after that. A little bit disappointed because that doesn't look quite like a soup bone to me, even though it says soup bone on there. Pretty sure that is a small thing of ribs. So not quite sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. Got about half the soup bones done and the sink's pretty much full. All right, so got all of it done. I put one level in the bottom of the roasting pan. I put my little spacer thing in there. Now I'm putting some of the bigger pieces that have meat on top, so whenever we slow cook it in the oven for a little bit, all that grease and stuff will all drip down onto that stuff on the bottom and kind of keep all the flavor in there. I'm going to keep on filling this and fill one more tray. We got all the soup bones put in containers down here to cook them. It's not totally thawed out yet, so we're going to wait an hour or so to start cooking. It needs to be totally thawed out, but I got them in here just so the kids don't get into them. Took quite a few containers. As you can see, that one there is pretty full. I do have space everywhere in between everything so the heat can get in there evenly. Gonna make quite a bit of beef broth out of this. We've got everything in the oven. Oven set at 450. Kind of hard to see through that, but oven set at 450. It's really popping and sizzling good in there. It smells amazing. We're gonna leave it in here for about 1 hour, then we're going to take it out and move on to the next step. We're about 5 minutes in, and it's kind of hard to tell in the video, but it's making quite a bit of smoke and steam. Smells amazing, but definitely like you're grilling inside the house. This is a good time to, well, can't really see it in there, but it's a good time to, take the batteries out of the smoke alarms if you have any smoke alarms in your kitchen. We do not in the kitchen. We've been through this enough that we know that the kitchen's not a good spot to have one. All right, so the first batch just came out. I'll show you scraping the next one, but we take them and we put them in a crock pot then, and we go till they're just covered with water. That first pan, which was that bigger pan there, had filled that crock pot. We got 2 large pieces in this one. So now we're going to take the next pan out. Still a little bit smoky. The next pan, because we were getting strapped for room, just a cast iron skillet. It's going to be nice and easy to dump. Let's go. These out of here. Put them in there. Try to put them in so as many as possible will fit in there. Try not to let any dripping juices get out, because that's most of your flavor. This piece here is a good piece of broth. Then scrape the part that's stuck to the bottom off. 11. something so I don't burn my hand here. Stuff all that in there. We'll move on to the next pan. Alright, next pan's out. There's another big old piece. Down in there best I can so we can submerge it. This one's going to be super hot, liquid metal. So you can break all that loose. Some good flavor in there, let it all drain out as long as I can hold that. All right, well, we got it all out now. It's going to make 4 crock pot fulls. 1 crock pot there, another one over there, then 2 of our, what are these things called? Instapots. These things here, you can see they have a soup broth function on them actually. We're gonna leave it in here for 24 hours. Then tomorrow we'll get it out and we'll start the next process. I should add, I am putting a little bit of salt in each one of these. That just kind of helps with the preservation, and iodized salt is good for you in moderation. So put that in there. Then whenever you're done with this, you can do a lot of things with it. Like some people will just put it in the refrigerator, heat it back up whenever they want, and they'll drink it. You know, the collagen and stuff, and it's all really healthy. And me personally, I'm excited about the beef and noodles that we're going to use this broth for. Some of the pieces had a pretty good amount of meat on them. I went ahead and tore the meat off. It's a little overcooked for my taste, but not horrible if you like your steak really well done. All right, it is the next evening. We are going to start taking our broth out. We're going to run it through a filter, and then all we have to do is cool it. All right, so you can tell it's cooked down a lot. It's really condensed, a pretty nice, creamy, soupy substance down there. The way I like to do it is I pull the bones all out, and I put them in a bucket, give them to Zach's dog or something. Try to let all the juice that'll drip. So right here, it's hard to see, but the marrow, nice marrow center, almost all that has been got out of there. If it's a bunch, I might try to get some of that out. All right, we got most of this one out, put in there. There's quite a bit of solid still in the bottom. It's mostly the meat and the marrows that have fallen off the bone. I don't feel any more bones in there. So what I do then on mine is I will take this and I'll dump it into here. I don't know if I can do that. So you just take the bowl, you dump everything that's left into a bigger container. It's all right if you get all the solids and stuff in there. A lot of the solids are going to stay in the bottom here. Let it drain out the best you can. Got quite a bit of solid still in there. Piece of bone, a bunch of fat. Dump that in the scrap bin. Put this in the sink so I don't get yelled at. And then you just keep on going on doing that. You know, that didn't yield that much really, but we'll empty the other 3 containers. This was the smallest of the 3. Empty the other 3 containers into here, and after we do that, we're going to put it in the fridge, and I'll explain why we do that here in a minute. Got all 4 containers put into this pot. Oh, that's hot. That's probably 1.5 gallons, maybe a little over 1.5 gallons. Got this bucket here full of all the scraps and all the bones. The bucket's pretty warm. Now, just gotta do a little bit of dishes. I'm gonna let this cool off on the counter for a few minutes. And whenever it's cooled off enough, I'm gonna put it in the fridge. You don't wanna put anything too hot in the fridge. So I'm gonna let it cool off for probably an hour or so. And put it in the fridge. We'll let it sit in the fridge until tomorrow morning. Right now, it's 7 o'clock in the evening, roughly 6:37. Clean all this mess up in the kitchen. And we'll start again in the morning. In the morning, all the fat that was in here, all the tallow, will be nice and set up on top. And we'll be able to pluck that all out so all the fat's out of there. And just get it out in chunks. We'll get that all out of there. That way it's nothing but pure chicken broth, or beef broth, sorry. Okay, got busy, forgot to record a step. But this has been sitting in the refrigerator for about 24 hours. All the fat that's in there all become a solid on top. Dipped it out, put it all in this bowl. As you can see, pretty good sized bowl, quite a bit of fat. We'll just throw that out. Getting ready to start heating it up, and we'll sort out all the solids that are still in there. I have 4 1-quart jars in the oven, sanitizing them. I'll leave them in there for a few minutes, then let them cool off, and we'll be able to start canning. So now that we got most of the fat out, most fat's right there, got it all out. It's pretty clean. There's a little bit left, but that'll be okay. We'll turn it on the stove, heat it back up a little bit because the broth has kind of turned into like a jelly-like substance. And we got to warm it up so we can put it in our cans. Okay, so now we have a fine mesh strainer, our desanitized jars. Just scooping it out of here. The strainer, which I'm sure some of you have realized that it's just a reusable coffee filter that we use every day. And we just simply dip it in here, and we might be able to put one more in there, but you want to leave about an inch of head space whenever you can stuff. So, I don't have a tape measure, but maybe one more. Then we'll seal this one up. All right, so we ended up with 3-quart jars full, and we decided because we're going to use some of it pretty quick that we're just going to fill up a milk jug with the rest. That way we have it right there available for us. So to do the milk jug, I'm just doing it into this little pitcher. Kind of difficult to do while holding my phone. But 2 of these big ladles. Gets it pretty much full. Bring it over here to the sink. Take this out, let most of it run and drip down into the thing. It's starting to get clogged up. Then just take it. You wouldn't want it to be super hot when you're putting it in a plastic milk jug. The only thing that I'm kind of wondering about on this is how we're going to get it out of this milk jug. Might have to cut the top because it's going to turn into like a jelly-like substance whenever we get it in the fridge. But we're going to make some beef and noodles next week, kind of excited about, so that's what we're going to use it for. All right, got my 4-quart cans in here. We're going to water bath them for a little bit. Just better turn the stove on high. Whenever it gets to a boil, we're going to let them go about 20 minutes in there. Once they hit a boil, then we'll let them cool off.
Whoa!
I'm playing with my dishwater.
Whoa!
So that has come to a nice boil in there, bathing. And we're heating up this bowl. We're going to turn this grease back into liquid, strain it, put it in there. We can use it on our cast iron and a few things like that. I guess if you really want to, you can fry French fries in it. But we'll probably mostly use it for just seasoning cast iron, black stones, that kind of thing. All right, we just shut the stove off. We're going to wait for the boiling to stop. This here's cooling down, our beef fat. We made a half gallon jar of beef fat. Let that cool down for a little while before we put it in the fridge. It's still pretty liquidy in there.